Dallas Mavericks snapped a 5-game winning streak from the Boston Celtics as the Celtics fell to the Dallas Mavericks 95-92 here at TD Garden. I am Josue Pavon alongside Bobby Manning. Bobby, it was Luka Doncic that certainly did all the damage, but for the most part, I feel like, and we talked about this a lot during the Celtics postgame show, the Celtics sort of didn't do themselves any favors there, right? They sort of forced themselves to come out with a lot of stops down the stretch, and when you put yourself in that kind of position, it's very difficult to come out with a win when you're playing one of the top players in the NBA, right?
Yeah, one of the roughest quarters in a while in the third there, giving up 38 points. As many points as they gave up in the first half. Dallas only scored 38, and it was really 35 in that first half with the heave at the end. So Luka found his footing there. They started throwing doubles at him. He was firing them right out of there, and guys like Spencer Dinwiddie, who was a big addition for them, started taking advantage. You had Dorian Finney-Smith hitting a ton of shots. They got on the break through Boston's turnovers, and really just a sloppy overall performance from Boston on offense. Opened the door for the Mavericks. I mean, the Celtics should have been up 20 early when they were piling up all those stops. Great defense in the first half, and then in the second half, they just allowed Luka to get in a great groove there, and especially the guys around him were pretty much shooting wide open shots, right?
I mean, what else do you think happened, though? Because the Celtics, like for a game, or team rather, to commit nearly 20 turnovers and you end up with an L. I mean, granted, this one was very close, in the end. But at the same time, what do you think happened there in that fourth quarter?
Well, if you had a rough bench effort in this one. DERRICK White missing a ton of shots, especially from deep. Overall, Celtics finished 24% from three. And we didn't notice it on Friday, but that was an 18% performance from three in that win over Detroit. So the shooting's rough right now. Grant was missing open looks. Smart was getting downhill, which was good. Tatum and Brown met a ton of resistance. Dallas great in its own right. I thought this game was interesting because this is the best defensive team that the Celtics have gone against in a little while here. And you saw that the pressure of Finney-Smith and all the size in the inside that Kleber and Powell can throw at you out there. Doncic, not the best defender in the world. They went at him early, and they weren't able to do it late. Dallas's rotations were just great out of those double teams they threw at Tatum and Brown. And really, the ball ended up in Smart's hands late, and it didn't look like he wanted it. Peyton Pritchard didn't look like he wanted to shoot the ball, even though he got a couple big shots late there. And White ended up out of the game, so they had to close with that double big unit. It was just stagnant.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, between DERRICK White and Grant Williams, two guys that have been very consistent off the bench for the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics just didn't have a whole lot coming out of that second unit. But I guess what I want to do is transition to someone like Jaylen Brown. Jaylen finishes 6 of 16 in this one. Down the stretch, it felt like there were opportunities for him to kind of capitalize on, but obviously that wasn't the case. Why do you think that was the case?
It's still the same story with him we've been talking about for a couple weeks. The handle, ball control, being able to make the most of those 0.5 seconds. And we did a video on this a couple weeks ago, whether he would fit with this new rapid-fire, quick decision offense that Ime is really starting to roll with here. And he's giving the ball away far too often here, playing sloppy in the lane. The live ball turnovers that they were giving up, especially early to keep this game close, ended up making it so that Dallas could just be a short run away in that third quarter. And when the defense started to slip up a little bit there, got rough for the Celtics. But Brown's got to be better at this point. We've talked about injuries. He's throwing it down on Maxi Kleber in the lane like that. He's probably feeling all right. So
that was his best dunk of the season, if you ask me. But yeah, you're right.
We'll get to more of that in our KG video. But he was aggressive early, and I love the aggressiveness. But if it takes you out of the game late to the point where you can't possess the ball in those spots, he's still very early in his ball control development here. We've seen how far Tatum has come. Brown, it feels like, is miles behind him right now, and it's very concerning how he's playing. I love the aggressiveness, scoring a lot of points, but playing like this inefficiently, it's not going to get it done if they want to win the East, and that's what my expectations are, obviously, at this point.
There are still 13 games left, but as Celtics fans know, that can go by really quickly. So we'll have to see how this team is able to bounce back.
West Coast trip ahead.
Yeah, West Coast trip ahead, which means we're not going to get a whole lot of sleep this upcoming week, but we're going to get some really good matchups. What do you think? What are you most looking forward to in those matchups?
Oh, it's the Warriors. We talk about Dallas's defense. You're going to run into a Warriors team with Draymond Green back in the lineup that just blew up the Bucks in dominant fashion. Klay Thompson goes off at 38, one of his throwback quarters. They're going to look whole, and they're going to be attacking you on both ends out there. Potential finals preview if Boston can get there?
Maybe. Not to step on Phoenix Suns' toes here, but let's face it, exactly. Because of what happened the last, 5-6 years, the Steph Curry era, if you will, we've seen some really good matches between the Celtics and the Warriors. Even though this isn't the same Celtics team, I think we'd be in for a treat if that was the case.
And it's going to look similar to this one. They're really going to get challenged by Golden State's defense. I mean, as good as Boston's been all year, Golden State was really holding on to that number one spot spot defensively for a while, even with Green out. And they haven't been great without Green, but with him, they might have been the best team in the league. So they're going to see him. They might see James Wiseman, who might make his debut in that game. So Warriors are going to have a ton to throw at them. And the Celtics, offensively, they made a lot of strides there, but a lot of it was transition, fast breaks, getting downhill and powering through guys inside against suspect defenses. So now that those defenses starting to ramp up, they're going to see the Jazz in a couple weeks. They're going to see some of the best defenses in the league here. We know that they can stop the best offenses, but can they score against the best defenses? I think that's still the question we have to ask about them.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Of course, you already know after every single game, it's the Celtics post-game show on YouTube, here on CLNS Media. And Bobby's got one more thing. What's up, Bobby? What you got?
The foul at the end. Thoughts?
I thought it was robbery, honestly. I really did. I mean, even though after looking at the replay, I just think that's a really tough call to make in that spot for it to result in a jump ball. I didn't think that was right.
I was shocked. I haven't seen a reversal like that this year where it was pretty firmly on the floor, foul, looked like contact. You'd have to see nothing at all, I think, on the replay to overturn it. So for them to do it, maybe they didn't want to decide the game on free throws, but let Smart go to the line and hit those. If he misses one, game over.
I feel like the referees were, I think you nailed it. I think they were too intimidated to make that kind of call, but I think there was that would have been the right call. And John brought up a good point during the post-game show that Marcus, that reputation of him flopping sort of still follows him, even though he's removed for those years. I mean, maybe that's not it, so to speak, but I do think that because it was Marcus and because guys don't expect him to take that shot, that they thought that he embellished it,
And he maybe had no chance at making it. I guess.
But a foul's a foul, as they say, though.
I agree, and if you call it on the floor, it's got to be, as they say, indisputable to overturn it. So if it was no call on the floor, I could have understood it saying, all right, we're not going to call this a foul. But credit to Kid. He had the challenge in the bag. Why not throw it out there with 4 seconds left, pray for a miracle, and they got it. And credit to Luka. Big step back three, big assist to Dinwiddie for the win, essentially. That's Luka Doncic, and man, is he killing the Celtics now in his career.
I just don't think it was the story of the game. But, yeah, to your point, Bobby, I just don't think they got that right. But we'll be back, of course, with plenty of coverage. We got the KG night segment, so stay tuned for that. And during the Celtics West Coast road trip, we'll be covering every single game with the Celtics postgame show live on YouTube right after the game. That's going to do it for us here at TD Garden. I am Josue Pavon for Bobby Manning. Until next time, guys, have a good one, and we'll see you.